All right, so hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Alertus Power Lunch, verifying system functionality. My name is Brooke, and I'm a trainer here at Alertus. During this session, we will cover best practices for verifying the functionality of your Alertus system, ensuring that it's always ready to perform when you need it most. We are joined today by Sarah Gillum, another person on our training team who will be leading this conversation. Also, as a reminder, this is an interactive session, so please feel free to ask any questions using the Q&A feature or the chat feature. And also, please be aware that this session is being recorded for training purposes. All right, Sarah, throwing it over to you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brooke. I'll go ahead and share my screen so that we can get started. So as Brooke mentioned, today we're going to look through a lot of the reporting information that's available in the Alertus console, and then we'll also look into some of the active system monitoring and just cleanup jobs that you can run just to make sure that your system has the space that it needs to operate really smoothly. So I'm going to go ahead and log in to my Alertus console here. And before we do take a look at the report data to make sure that our activations are being sent out correctly, I do want to go ahead and activate something with you all so that we have something to check up on. So I'm going to reach behind me to my training wall and I'm going to press this evacuate panic button just to send out a preset alert that we can analyze a little bit deeper. So I'm going to press the button now. So now it's pressed and we can see the devices behind me being activated. The alert beacons, I have an LED marquee. We'll hear this speaker soon.
Evacuation
And there's
order
the desktop
is now in
alert.
effect due to a fire in building 1 on.
All right, so I just clicked that acknowledge button to close the desktop pop-up from my own computer. But as you can see, it's still active in the system. But if I did want to cancel this alert early, which I do, I'm going to just click on this red active alerts window and hit cancel and then confirm. So that will go ahead and cancel that alert early. So now all of the devices behind me have stopped activating. They're back to their normal state. So now that we did send out an alert, I want to show you all of the reporting information that is available just for checking in and making sure that it was sent out and delivered as expected. So we're going to take a quick look into this alert history report to start. So this report will display a list of the 40 most recent alerts that have been sent out by the system, and the most recent alert will be at the top. So here is that Fire Building 1 preset that was sent when I pressed that panic button. And if I click on it, it will show some more information. For example, I can see that it was sent using a custom event trigger. That means that these custom event triggers are tied to the panic button. I can also see the recipients for that alert. I can see the status that it was canceled, etc. So there's a lot of good information here. And then this report is also helpful because it has 3 attached reports to give you even more information. So I'll take a quick look into this device activations report. This report will show you exactly which devices were activated during that alert. So if I scroll down past this general alert information, like what we could see on that main alert history page, here in this chart, I can see for each device type exactly how many devices were activated. I can also see if there were any offline devices that I targeted but did not activate. So I can see my total activation percentage here was about 67% for that alert that I just sent out. And then if I scroll down, I can see a chart with that same information. And then finally at the bottom, I can see each device name, if it activated, and exactly how long that took. You can also search for specific devices if you want to find something specific, or you can also sort by the status. So for example, you could bring everything that did not activate to the front if you want a list of some devices you might want to take a closer look at. But in addition to this device activations report, there is also a device acknowledgements report. So this is showing you if any device was acknowledged during that alert. So for example, if you press the acknowledge button on your desktop, or I forgot to do it, but you can also acknowledge alert beacons if you hold down the two buttons on the front. That's the way that you can acknowledge the message on the alert beacon, and that would show up here as well. But if we scroll down, again, there's general alert information, but now in this chart, I can see exactly which devices were acknowledged. So I can see that I did acknowledge my desktop, and then I have all of these other unacknowledged devices. So here's my acknowledgement percentage. And then if I scroll down, here I can see again each device, if it was acknowledged this time, and then exactly how long that took. So this could be helpful if you do want to encourage people to acknowledge alert messages when they see them. This report will show you exactly which devices were interacted with and acknowledged. And then the last attached report is this user recipients report. This one is kind of a combination of device activations and acknowledgements, but for devices with specific logged in users. So this is really helpful for seeing your desktop users. For example, this logged in user I can tell is myself. So I know this is my computer that was activated in 11 seconds and acknowledged by me in 32 seconds. So this can be helpful if you do want to keep track of the user data associated with your devices that were activated and acknowledged. You'll be able to see that really clearly here. But in addition to this alert history report, there are also a number of other reports to get some more helpful information. The next one that I think is really helpful is this device status report. This is definitely the best place to go for the most updated device information. So for example, if you noticed in that alert history report that some of your devices did not activate, this is a place that you can come to check to get some more information. So as you can see here, these are my devices. Any of these at the top in white are currently online and checking in, so they should be able to get those alert messages, no problem. And then any of these yellow devices are inactive. So these devices have checked in since the last restart, but have not checked in a while. For desktops, they'll become inactive if they haven't checked in around 3 minutes or so. So it could be an early sign something might be going on. Again, it could just mean that the device has been powered off. So not necessarily a sign of an issue right away, but definitely something to keep an eye on if you notice it hasn't checked in for a long time. And then finally, the red devices down here are completely offline, so they have not checked in since the last time my server was restarted, which I can see that I restarted this server on December 23rd of 2024. So none of these devices have checked in since then. But if you do scroll to the side, you can see a bunch of additional device information like IP addresses. You can see the logged in user. You can see information about the last error time, etc. And if you do want to customize what you see in this report, you can come to this add/remove columns button. So this will show you all of the options for what device information you can include here. So if you scroll through it, you can see that there's a lot of options, but you can check anything that you want to show up in this report, and then anything that is unchecked will be hidden. You can also click and drag things up towards the top if you'd like to rearrange them. And whatever you have at the top of this list is what will show up first on the left-hand side of this chart. And from here, you can also search for specific devices. You can also sort devices based on their status, or you can filter by the device type that you want to look for. So for example, if I just want to see desktops, I could just check those. So definitely a lot of good device information here. And continuing through these reports, another one that I think is really helpful if you are using groups to target recipients is this group memberships report. This is a good place to go to check on your groups. If you click to expand one, it will show you exactly which devices are in that group. And you can also see if any contact has been assigned to that group as well. And I think this report is really helpful because it has three links at the top here with some more information. So for example, this top one says view alert devices not assigned to any groups. So if I click in here, I currently don't have any devices that are not part of a group, but if you did have something here that should be in a group, but it isn't, that would definitely give you a clue that you might want to go check your group assignments to make sure that everything is in the group that it should be. And then in addition to group memberships, there is also a location memberships report. If you are using locations to organize your devices or to send location information when you have an activation, you'll be able to see the locations that you have created here, as well as if you click on the location, you'll be able to see devices in that location. And you can also view alert devices not assigned to any locations. If you click that link above again, it will pull it up on the separate page. And then another useful report is this system activity report. So this report is really helpful for just keeping a close eye on everything that's going on in your system. So for example, you'll be able to see anytime someone logs in, anytime there's an activation, you can see any configuration changes or warnings. So a lot of good information here. You can sort it by the categories or the levels if you'd like, or also by the date range. Let's say, for example, we just want to look at system errors. I could just select those to see all of the system errors here. And you can click the details to expand that error to get some more information about what's going on. Additionally, if you do have any voice over IP phones connected, since that's an integration and not a native Alertis device, if you do want to view a report to see more information about your VoIP activations or VoIP devices, that's what you'll see on these last two reports here. I don't have any voice over IP phones connected to my training server, so I won't see any data in these reports, but you'll see information about, again, your activations or your connected voice over IP devices from these bottom two reports. Awesome. So I know we've just looked at a lot of reporting information. I do also want to take a quick look into one of these dashboards, specifically the event dashboard. Also has a lot of helpful information here. So this event dashboard will show you all of the events that have come in and been processed by your Alertis system. So for example, anytime someone presses a panic button, that will show up as an event in this dashboard. For example, this top event is that panic button activation. I can see the time that it was pressed, and I can also tell that it was pressed by the button attached to the yellow alert beacon training wall, which is the one behind me. This other panic button activation was when I pressed my USB panic button. And then also, if you do have Threat Watcher enabled to process weather events, you'll be able to see any weather events coming in as cap alerts here as well. So a lot of good information in this dashboard. And it's also helpful because of this field on the right-hand side with your processing details. So this will help you make sure that if someone does press a panic button, that your server is taking the correct actions that you've specified. For example, panic buttons use custom event triggers. That's how the system knows exactly what alert to send when a panic button is pressed. So I can tell when I pressed my panic button, it matched the custom event trigger I created. I can click a link to see exactly that information. And then I can also see from these links below exactly which preset alert was sent out. And then I can also see the specific alert ID here as well. So again, a good place to just double check and make sure your system is responding correctly to all of these events. And another helpful place to take a look at in this Alertis console, especially for cleaning up those devices, would be the device cleanup job that you can enable under this configure system section. If you scroll down to this desktop tab, this is where you're able to turn that on. If you come into the global settings here, and then come to this device cleanup tab. This will let you delete inactive devices. So if this is turned on, you can set a daily execution time, which would be the time that this job is run. And it's in military time. So right now it would be 3 a.m. If I wanted it to be, say, 3 p.m., I could update it to be 1500. But maybe I'll leave it for 3 a.m. since that would be a good time in the middle of the night to run that job. And then you can also set the days since last verified check-in that you want for this job. So as it's set right now at 3 a.m., it would check every night to see if there are any devices that have not checked in for the past 30 days. If so, if I had desktops that hadn't checked in for that amount of time or longer, then it would go ahead and just clean them up from the system. So this can be helpful if you do especially want to stay under that device licensing number, or if you just want to make sure that you don't have a bunch of old unnecessary devices, you can run that here. You can also update this time since last check-in. So if you want to give it a little bit longer, you can update that to be any number of days that you'd like. Awesome. So we looked at a lot of reports and information within this Alertus console, but there are also some additional system monitoring and cleanup settings that you can turn on from the middleware settings. So those middleware settings are more on the back end of your system, but you can access them if you click this middleware button on the bottom left-hand side. It will take you to this page where you can just click right here on the Alertus middleware settings link. That will bring you to this page with a lot of information. Today, we are going to focus first on this notification and monitoring tab. From this section, you'll be able to enable some notification and monitoring features to help you keep a closer eye on the system and allow you to be notified if anything comes up. If there's an event or something has an error, you'll be able to get notified. So essentially, to enable this, you'll make sure that you have a recipient email address in this box. You can also have multiple email addresses. You'll just separate them with commas. But once you have the email address in here, you'll select the event types that you want this email to be notified about. So for example, these can include any system errors. It could include any devices on low battery, any panic buttons that need to be reset, or any USB panic button check-in failures. So you'll just collect or check the events you want to see to get that information sent directly to this email. And you can also turn on the assurance monitoring feature by checking this box as well. So as you can see here, if your system is able to communicate with the Alertus gateway, then this assurance monitoring information will be sent to Alertus so that we can also assist you in monitoring your system and letting you know if there is an error or something that we recommend checking out. If you scroll down a little bit farther, there is also an activation notifier. If this is enabled, the above email addresses would be sent a notification anytime there is an activation of the system. And then you can also turn on this active system monitor section as well. This is really helpful if you do have alert beacons, since as it says above, this will be able to detect any alert beacons that have not checked in for a period of time, alert beacons on low battery, alert beacons with low or defective batteries, or FM communication problems if applicable, if they're using FM communication. So if that's enabled, you'll be able to get all of that information sent to your email as well. And then another section down here is this daily digest report. So this would be a daily snapshot of the Alertus system in an HTML formatted email. Again, this is going to include a lot of really helpful alert beacon information. So definitely I would recommend turning this on if you do have a lot of alert beacons that you want to keep a close eye on without having to go physically travel to every device every time you want to check on it. And then this next section, I also wanted to take a quick look at with you all. This is the server maintenance section. So this is where you can enable some cleanup jobs that are able to delete old or extraneous data from your server so that it is able to run more smoothly. So for example, this Alertis disk cleanup job, if this is checked, then it will run these jobs in order to clear up some disk space on the Alertis server. So if this is checked, again, you'll set the daily execution time, and then you'll decide how much information you want to keep before anything is deleted. So you can put in how many server logs to keep, these Tomcat logs as well, or how many system backups that you want to retain. So it'll keep this number, and then it'll delete anything older than that if it gets above the number that you set here. And then finally, another data cleanup job that you can enable here. This will delete some old information from those alerts or those reports that we took a look at in the Alertis console. So for example, you can choose to delete old alerts from that alert history page. Right now, if this was checked, I would be retaining alerts for 30 days and then deleting older ones. You can also delete old events from that event dashboard, or delete old system activity from that system activity report. So again, a good way to just clean up some extra data or some extra information that you don't need to keep a record of for forever. But again, you can specify all of these settings to make sure that you're keeping everything that you do want to have a record of and easy access to. But I know that we did look at a lot of information, so I wanted to leave some time for any questions if we've had any added into the chat. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen for now. I'll pass it back to Brooke, who's gonna be sharing an article with some of the information that we discussed today.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah, for taking us through all of that. I'm going to paste that knowledge base article in the chat. So that is there now. You will need to log into your help.alertis.com customer portal to access it. So if you need assistance with that, do let us or your account manager know. And we do still have 7 minutes left for questions, but I don't see any coming in at this time. Sarah did a great job. So, but we'll stay on the line for a few more minutes if any other questions come in. If not, thank you so much for being here today, and we appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, we have these every Friday, except for next Friday. Next Friday is our kickoff meeting, internal retreat with our organization. So we will not have one next Friday, but the Friday after, our session will be on the Alertis Operator Activator training. So that will be a quick run through of all the different ways to activate the system. And I will put that link to register for that in the chat right now as well. Grab it.
Yes, thank you. And I hope you all have a great rest of your Friday, a great weekend.
Yes, have a good one, everyone.